Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're all very well. Tim is doing a countdown. Very good, Tim. Just want to say hello to everyone who's on the stream tonight. We have Killer. Great to have you on, Killer. Thank you for coming on and moderating once again. We have Dude. Great to see you, Dude. 1,000 subs before the end of the quarantine. Great to see you on once again. We have Tim. Great to see you, Tim. Then we also have Skyblaze. Great to see you, Skyblaze. I hope you're well. We have Dano. Great to see you, Dano. John. Great to see you. Herbie. Great to have you on. John O'Sullivan and John Hart. Great to see you, John Hart, as well. Tiny Demolition Lover. Great to have you on again. Hope you're well. Lamart. Once again, I'm terrible at pronouncing that name. Great to see you on once again. Morag, great to have you on. Christian, great to see you. We have Brian, great to have you on. Buonasera. Lenhan, great to see you. Hello from the Highlands. Great to have you on from the Highlands. Tyson, great to see you. Kenny, great to have you on once again. Min in Malta, great to have you on. Keith, great to see you. Cap Spread, great to see you. Pete, great to have you on. Tim, great to have you on. Nobby Heads, great to see you. Archangel, great to see you. Herbie, great to have you on. We also have Michael, great to see you, Mike. Pete, great to see you. Herbie, great to have you on. Dude, great to have you on. Unless I already said hello to Dude, sorry. We have... Who else have we got? Magister, great to see you. Tim's Countdown. Paul, great to see you, Paul. Jamie. Connor. E. Monez, great to see you. Mary Flanagan, great to see you on. Mrs. VSNC, great to see you. Pauline, great to have you on. Didymus, great to see you. Night Raven, great to have you on. Ministerian, great to see you once again. Hi Tom, great to have you on. Let me see, we also have Kevin, great to see you, Kevin. Paul Hughes. Joe, great to see you. I can't hear you. Oh, can everyone hear me? No, don't tell me I have a problem with my microphone. Can't hear anything. Let me see. No, can anyone hear me? Yes. Okay. Whew. So whoever can't hear me, it's probably a problem on your side. It's not on my side. It's a bit low. Okay, let me increase the volume a little bit. Sound is fine. Okay. We can hear you. Good. Okay. It's a tad low. Let me move a little bit closer to the microphone, perhaps. So I hope everyone is very well tonight. I'm doing quite well. So we're going to talk about a number of different things, of course. Turn up your speakers on whoever can't hear. Yes, volume is a bit low. I'll try and turn it up as much as I can. I can hear you, Max. Good. Okay. So we're going to talk about, of course, the second wave. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. Just want to make a comment about a video uploaded today, which was about the problem with the SNP. Now, I got a lot of feedback from that. A lot of it was actually quite positive, and that was welcoming. So just want to talk a little bit more about that. It's the idea that I think what's going to happen is the SNP will probably, in my opinion, this is not set in stone, of course, it's just my opinion, that the SNP will probably dissolve after Scottish independence, and you will see a rake of new parties springing up all over Scotland. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. So the criticisms of the SNP in the way that they're linking, many people who are criticizing the SNP and criticizing independence are trying to combine the two. And I think by combining the SNP, or how can I say, linking the SNP to independence makes sense on one level. It's actually quite irrelevant when Scotland will eventually become independent. I think it's just a matter of when, it's not a matter of if. The Tories and the Labour Party are against it, of course, and that's understandable. But it's going to happen at some stage. I don't think it's something you can stop. In the same way, I think Northern Ireland will eventually reunite with the Republic of Ireland, and there will be a united Ireland, and that's something that can't really be stopped at this stage. It's a slow-moving train, but it will arrive at its destination. So remember, guys, on the stream, hit the like button. If you want to send a donation, I will during the end of each segment, I'll respond to your comments on connected to your donations. We don't have super chats, unfortunately. At the moment, YouTube has disabled super chats for me, unfortunately, but I'm hoping by maybe a week or two we should have the super chats back, and that makes it much better for everyone, me and you. But if you cannot donate, don't worry, you can just hit that like button, smash that like button, and it helps the stream, gets more people on. And last Tuesday we got up to about 250 viewers, and that was fantastic. So I really would like to improve on that number. So I want to jump into the first topic. We're going to cover a number of different topics, of course, as we always do. And your comments are always appreciated. I'll try and respond to as many of them as I can. Let me just, before we jump into that, just read some of the comments that appear on the screen in front of me. I agree. If the SNP was a one-trick pony, it isn't. There will be fissures and breakaways, but whoops, I lost that comment. Let me scroll back up. But not a wholesale dissolution. So that's what Night Raven has said. I think I still believe that it will probably dissolve. What'll happen is that if independence, when independence arrives, if Nicola Sturgeon, is the leader of the SNP when it takes place, I think what will happen is Nicola Sturgeon will be treated as the new Mary Queen of Scots, and she will be paraded as the lady who delivered independence for Scotland. And then what will happen is, after, the SNP will fight among itself, because there are many different factions within the SNP who want different things. There are right-wingers, there are left-wingers, there are centrists, there are all different groups. And I think at the moment the glue that's holding them together is independence. And once that glue is gone, I think they're going to split off into different groups. And probably the party that Nicola Sturgeon joins or leads would probably be the most successful, based on her record and her experience as First Minister. But it's going to be an interesting number of years going ahead. Let me see. So I'm missing some of the comments here. A slow-moving train driven by Bozo the Clown and the calamitous circus of conservative fools. Yes. I said something some time ago that probably pissed off a lot of Scottish people. I said that Boris Johnson, in a way, has been very useful for the cause of independence. In the same way, Boris Johnson has been very useful for Republicans in Northern Ireland. And maybe it would be an idea of having a statue made out of I don't know what for Boris Johnson in the future in Scotland, to say, look, Boris, you helped independence along, not intentionally, of course, but I better not speak too much more about that because I risk receiving a lot of hate from the Scots. Let me see. Yeah, they do. Scotland needs approval from the UK government to hold a legally binding independence referendum, and the Tories are the UK government. I think 1,000 subs. That's not exactly true. I think there are a number of clauses that would allow Scotland to still have a referendum, but I will allow someone in the chat to correct you on that, because I don't think it's true what you said. Max, don't you think a look at the foundation of the Irish Free State 99 years ago might be insightful to the way things are going, especially the configurations of the Irish in 2020? So that's an interesting parallel. The the Irish Free State in the 1920s, how it developed into an independent country. I think that the parallels are useful, but not exactly as useful as we might imagine, because Scotland would be hoping to connect to re-enter the European Union. So I think it's going to be a different pathway that Scotland is going to take. The politics are quite different as well. And of course, Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, the Free State, got its independence after a bloody revolution. And I hope that's not necessary in Scotland. I hope, of course, it will always be a peaceful one. Let me see. You still owe me a Peter Hitchens video? I do indeed. I needed to do a response video to Peter Hitchens, How the Great Have Fallen. Scotland wouldn't have to keep fighting for part of the country to be part of Scotland. It is fighting outside a pub in Maidstone. I'm not sure what that's about. I hope people are not fighting on the streets. The coming recession or depression and the coming mismanagement of it under Boris and the Tories will probably fuel the fires of Scottish independence. I agree. Brexit has been very useful to the independence cause. I really believe that. The way that the Scots were told to vote for the Union back in 2014, and then we had Brexit, and they were basically thrown under a bus. And even people who had voted to remain in the Union back in 2014 had a change of mind after Brexit. And I think it's an uphill struggle for the Labour Party, for the Tories, for the Lib Dems to convince Scotland to vote to remain in the Union. And I think Brexit is going to just drive that message home, that if you want to face economic stagnation, if you want to face a Tory government for the foreseeable future, vote against independence. Man-made recession coming. Scamdematic. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that's about. Irish freedom and reunification was a long and difficult road that's still not even over. Scots need to bear that in mind. Yes, I think it's important to remember that independence would not be something like the flick of a switch. It would take once the referendum result has come in, then that's the easy part in a way. The difficult part is getting it up and running, building a relationship with the government in the UK, which would be the UK at that stage, in Westminster, to put in place the mechanisms to facilitate independence. And I think it would be very difficult. I'm not saying this is not a battle to fight, but it would be difficult if the Tories are in charge. When are we going to get a face reveal, Max? Says Joe. Be good to know who we're listening to. I don't want a Boris statue. Thanks. Maybe on the 50th subscribers, 50,000 subscriber, I will do a face reveal. So just on that point, the channel has reached 30,000 subscribers today. Yay! So I'm very happy with that. It was a long road, but we got there in the end, and I'm hoping that to get to 50,000 subscribers, it won't take as long as it took to get to 30,000. So that'd be great. Would Scotland stay as part of the EU, or must they apply for membership? So what will happen is Scotland would have to apply for membership, so it would not stay. It would not stay a member of the EU because there is no member, Scotland, of the EU. There is the UK. Well, now it's no longer a member either. So technically, Scotland is no longer a member of the EU either. So it would have to apply for membership. But now, normally it takes a number of years for that to take place, and there is a queue. But I think Scotland would be able to jump the queue somewhat because it's following its European laws and regulations at the moment. It's willing to make changes in order to facilitate membership. It's aligned in many ways with the European Union goals and ideals, and it was a member. So it's not like some of the other countries who are starting out from scratch and attempting to become a member of the European Union. Scotland has already been one, in a way, through UK membership, of course. So I think it's not the same as, for example, Albania or Romania when they started their process to become a member of the European Union. So Scotland would still have to follow a number of steps in order to become a member. Faisal Mankini at 50,000. We will see. We will see. Okay. Just a little image there for all of you. So I just want to read a part of this article from The Guardian. It says, we're still so tired. Europe's doctors brace for a second COVID-19 wave. So in a way, I think in many countries, the pandemic hasn't ended. We're still in the first wave. So we're not really looking towards a second wave. We're looking at an extended first wave. During the initial peak of Spain's COVID-19 pandemic in the spring, the virus displayed an unexpected mercy. In its spread, ferocity, and awful novelty, it left health workers too tired and overwhelmed to look beyond the next few hours. There's no time to get angry or to wonder why things have been organised the way they have been, said Geoso, an A&E doctor at El Estoril, a hospital near Madrid, told The Guardian at the end of March. 5 months on, as Gesolio and her colleagues across Spain and many other parts of Europe are bracing for a second wave, there have been ample time for reflection. Over the past 2 weeks, Spain has recorded more than 35,000 new COVID-19 cases, two-thirds of them in just 3 regions, Catalonia, Aragon and Madrid. According to the Health Ministry, there are currently 580 active outbreaks across the country. Geoso can hardly bear the continuance the idea of a second wave as devastating as the first. I don't even want to think about it, she said. We've obviously have to do whatever we could, but we're still so tired that I don't know that we've have enough strength to go through it all again. If there was another wave like that one, it would be a catastrophe. So I think many people are worried about a second wave, of course, and there is concern that that's what's going to happen. But I still believe that we're not going to see a second wave like the first wave that we saw back at the beginning of the early part of the year, I should say, not the beginning, but the early part of the year. We're going to see spikes. We're going to see outbreaks in certain areas of the country, in each of our countries. Now, Italy has been very lucky in a way that Italy saw a huge number of cases at the beginning of the year, and now the number of cases have declined a great deal, and the number of deaths are in single figures. So that's to be welcomed. But going forward, I don't know if Italy is going to see the same again. I'm afraid that Italians are starting to be complacent, and we're looking at a situation where we're going to start to see new cases coming out, perhaps in September, because here in Italy they're talking about reopening the schools again, and we still don't know. We're talking about just September next month, and we still don't know what measures there are in place to deal with that. What type of cleaning, what type of social distancing, hand washing, masks, visors, what will children have to wear, and how education will be delivered to children. It's still all up in the air, and I don't know what's happening in other countries. As far as I know, some states in the US have postponed education completely, in the sense that they want children to learn remotely. Now, I talked a little bit about that on the last live stream, but we will see. Let me see some of your comments. I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but the COVID peak in late December is going to be much worse than before. Global Twig. I think it's going to be much worse, because you're going to have COVID, you're going to have the winter flu, and then you're also going to have people stuck inside. So people won't be able to go out as much as they are now, because the weather will be much colder, much wetter, and this will facilitate the spread of the virus. And because you will have the winter flu as well, I think you're going to see a confusion between, okay, are these people infected with COVID? Do they have the winter flu? What do we do? And I think you're going to see a number of hospitals probably closing, because they're not able to deal with all the cases that are coming in. One of the problems are that people are going on holiday, meeting interesting new people, and catching diseases. We're seeing a small rise in cases here in Germany, and holidays are going to be a factor. Yeah, it's here in Italy. The big holiday period is the month of August. The 15th of August here in Italy is called Ferragosto, and most companies close for about a week or 2 weeks in that period, and everyone goes everywhere. And I'd be very surprised if we don't see a huge spike 2 weeks after the 15th of August here in Italy. If Italy doesn't have a spike after that, I think they have probably survived COVID, because it's the period where everyone is traveling all over the country. Ferries, aircraft, every mode of transport will be full of people, and I'm extremely concerned about that. There are currently 20,000 new cases recorded across Europe, a rise of around 35% in the last week. This is the start of the second wave. Travel for tourism shouldn't be allowed this year. I agree. We should have said, okay, 2020 will be the year of the lockdown. We lock down 2020, and we make the best in 2021. We recover in 2021. We attempt to return to normal in 2021. And instead, what we've seen in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, is some countries, some parts of the country, for example, in the United States, are dealing with the pandemic in the right way, other parts are not. And if some parts are not dealing with it correctly, then you're going to see a spread into places that have been dealing with it correctly. Here in Northern Ireland, the pandemic has just handled quite well, despite Foster's attempt to copy Johnson. I think Northern Ireland is well placed in a way because the situation in the Republic is being dealt with extremely well. I think I have to give them credit for what they've been doing in the Republic. At the beginning, I think they made a lot of stupid mistakes, but after that, they seem to be dealing with it quite well. So Northern Ireland is protected in a way because the Republic has been doing a good job, and the Irish Sea. So it has limited the amount of traffic, for a better word, between the mainland, the UK, and the island of Ireland. So Northern Ireland has been protected in a way because of the Irish Sea. All countries wanted taxes. That's why they reopened mindlessly. If leaders knew how to deal with issues, we would have never had a lockdown in the first place. No, I agree with that. Okay, let's move on to, I want to move on to the, stay on this topic, but I'll move on to the issue of, so this is a scandal that took place recently, still on the issue of COVID, of course. It says here, Labour calls for inquiry into the purchase of 50 million unusable face masks. PPE ordered from Alanda Capital as part of £252 million contract deemed unsafe for NHS workers. So you can sort of imagine where this is going. The Tories gave a contract to someone. I don't know if this someone was a donor of the Tory party, or a friend, or an ex-Tory, or what. But they were given a contract to purchase PPE, and they purchased the wrong PPE, or they purchased PPE that was useless to the NHS. So the article goes on to say, an inquiry must be held into the purchase of 50 million masks that were later deemed unsuitable for use by NHS workers, Keir Starmer has said. The £252 million medical supplies contract was awarded to an investment firm in April, as ministers desperately sought to replenish the UK's dwindling supplies of PPE at the height of the country's coronavirus epidemic. Now, this is interesting, of course, for another reason, that the EU had said to the UK, if you want to join our program to purchase PPE, it's open to you also. You're no longer a member of the European Union, but out of human decency, we understand you're struggling. We want to help. If you want to join this program, you can do it. Boris Johnson said, no. Brexit is king now. We don't want anything more to do with the EU. Anyway, it would look bad for Brexiteers if they went to the EU to ask for help. Also, the EU had started sourcing PPE in January. As soon as the pandemic was, the cases were increasing in China, the European Union actually looked at this, used their intelligence, and I mean intelligence as in their political intelligence, and said, we need to purchase extra PPE. The UK did not. And then, of course, after the EU offered this opportunity to Boris Johnson, and Boris Johnson said no. For months, we were told that we were told that the government was purchasing the right equipment for the front line. I remember Matt Hancock talking about this. Yes, don't worry, we're purchasing PPE for the front line, for NHS workers, and then we'll clap for them. Yet again, it hasn't happened, the Labour leader told reporters during a visit to North Wales on Thursday. There needs now to be an investigation and inquiry into what went wrong with the particular contract, because it's just not good enough to people who need that protective equipment, and we find that we find ourselves in this position. Two organizations seeking judicial review of the decision to award the contract to Alanda Capital, which describes itself as specializing in currency trading, offshore property, private equity, and trade financing. So this contract was given to a currency trading enterprise. The government need PPE. So you think they would go to a company that imports or produces PPE? No, they went to a currency trader instead. In a legal letter to Every Doctor and the Good Law Project, the government acknowledged that millions of masks were unsuitable because of concerns that they had ear loops rather than head loops. So ear loops are the ones that loop across your ear, like the ones you see people walking around wearing, meaning they cannot be fastened sufficiently tightly. And of course, they don't have, so you cannot tighten them. You cannot block, how can I say, particle transmission, or the exit of particles with this. So the correct ones would have looped around your head, and you can tighten them, or you can fit them to individual wearers. While there's the ear loop ones are one size fits all. And it's one size fits all is okay for members of the general public, but you need the proper ones for NHS staff because they have to wear them for hours on end. The letter also revealed that the initial approach to the government was made by Andrew Mills, an advisor to the International Trade Secretary Liz Truss. Mills, who was identified as an advisor to the UK Board of Trade that Truss chairs, is said to have gained rights to production capacity of a Chinese factory, though through a firm he set up in February 2019. Isn't that interesting? It's a very short time running a company. The government said that he then asked for the contract to be signed with Alanda, to which he says he is a senior board advisor, and which is owned by his business associate, because it had more suitable banking infrastructure. Mills told the BBC his board of trade position played no part in the award of the contract, the broadcaster reported. Yes. The government's letter says 43.5 million of the unsuitable. So 43.5 million of the unsuitable masks have already been delivered and are in the Department of Health and Social Care's DHSC logistic chain, and it is thought that they will not be used in the NHS. So the NHS will end up not having the correct masks because somebody needed to make a lot of money. Boris Johnson said he's very disappointed, yes, that the shipment was unsuitable. But he said that Britain had achieved a colossal race against time to obtain supplies and equipment and stockpile it in case of a second wave of coronavirus in the autumn and winter. Well, this is just a big pile of bullshit, because Boris Johnson had an opportunity, as I said before, to purchase PPE with the European Union, but he said no. And then, because I truly believe that they said no for two reasons. One is Brexit, and the other is we don't want to spend money. Why do we spend money on saving people when the virus probably won't manifest? Because think back to February and March. Boris Johnson was treating the virus as a non-entity. He was talking about going around shaking hands with people who were in hospitals that there were infected cases. He was saying we're going to take it on the chin. We don't need to go into a lockdown. So this whole idea that yes, we you know, this was out of our hands. There was nothing we could do. We did our best. It's just a pile of crap once again. Hospital in my Silverblade says hospital in my neighborhood. The folks were run ragged during all the COVID cases, worn to tears and breakdowns, and of course got some of it. COVID is real. It's really I don't know what to say about how we must remember the NHS staff and hospital staff around the world after we have overcome this pandemic. I really hope that we're going to treat them with the respect that they deserve and not just clap for them or give them a pat on the back and then expect them just to go back to normal again. They should go back to being treated like crap once again. Someone has said that we shouldn't call them heroes because heroes are expected to give their life. No, they shouldn't be expected to give their lives. They've already given their time and their effort and their blood and their sweat to save our lives. We must treat them with the respect they deserve. Whatever pay rises they want, they should receive. We shouldn't spare any expense. These people have saved our bacon. They have saved our lives. We need to treat them with the respect they deserve. I have the finest painters overalls on, dressed up for the event. Okay. Remember to like the live stream. Yes, guys. If you like Max's work, subscribe to the channel. It helps grow the channel. Thank you very much, Tom. That's correct. If you'd like to become a Patreon, please do. If you become a patron, you get access to Discord, and where all the fun is on Discord. Okay. Let's just take a little break for a moment. I just want to show you a funny video. It's a true video. Unfortunately, it's true, but also funny. Donald Trump.
17 Whirlpool 2017.
I hope you can hear this. So this is Donald Trump just yesterday, actually. He had an interesting comment.
Whirlpool won relief from the ITC once more. Your foreign competitors moved their factories to prevent a level playing field and to avoid liability, shifting production to Thailand and to Vietnam. Thailand and Vietnam.
Thailand.
Two places that I like their leaders very much. They're very nice to us.
Of course he likes the leaders of Thailand. Okay. I would like to know what Boris Johnson was doing in Thailand. It'd be interesting to know what he was doing in Thailand. Not Thailand, but Thailand. And both. They are the heroes who have risked their lives for ours. But of course, they should be paid commensably, properly in the first place. Danger money on top of that, and all the respect too. What the hell is wrong with him? I need to check that. Is Trump really the president of the US, or does he need an increase in the dose of his medication? Thailand. I lost my humor on Trump. Isn't Thunder Thailand port? Top it. Johnson was ping pong tournament. If you know what I mean. Thailand, that's good. Boris the Builder in the house. Yes, so let's get on to Boris again. See what Boris has to say in this video.
I think I'm right in saying that we are now testing more per head of population than virtually any other country in Europe, certainly. In America, they're testing a huge number of people. And that test and trace system is absolutely crucial for our ability to fight the disease. And it is working. If you look at what we're doing with some of the local...
Okay, but Matt Hancock said that the test and trace system would not be available until October. So what is Boris Johnson talking about?
Social distancing measures that we're bringing back in, that's entirely driven by our ability to detect cases through local test and trace, working with our local authorities and taking the right local measures. And that is how we hope that we'll be able to keep the lid on the disease.
So the government has, as we said before, the government has also admitted that 50 million masks bought for the NHS will not be able to be used due to safety concerns.
I'm very disappointed that any consignment of PPE should turn out not to be fit for purpose. The particular bit you're talking about is subject to legal proceedings. So I can't comment on that. I have to wait and see how that develops.
So what's going to happen to the person who set up this company and delivered these faulty goods? Are they going to be punished? Are they going to be put in jail? Are they going to lose the money? Are they going to have to pay it back to the taxpayer? What's going to happen to this person? I know Boris Johnson can't comment on it at the moment because there are legal proceedings, so maybe that's something positive. But what was this guy's connection to the Conservative Party? We've seen in the article that he had some connection to the Conservative Party, but how deep was that connection? So I talked about this before, about this, how important it is for people to return to the economy, to work in the economy. The problem is that if people don't feel safe, then they're not going to return to work. And who is responsible for making people feel safe about returning to the economy, to their workplace? Well, it depends on the government, and it depends on the workplace. I uploaded a video just today about Fool of the Week, about a business owner who is saying that if people don't return to the workplace, he's going to fire them. Max, are you looking for detail from Boris? No, I don't look for detail from Boris. We have a prime minister fit for no purpose. And considering one guy can feed 1,000 more people, it's not actually necessary for us to work for, well, years. Boris the bulldozer. Defund the government. Face like a slapped baboon's horse. Oh my god. Boris the orange bumblebee. But the idea that you can force people back into the workplace, but people don't feel safe. Another aspect is that business owners haven't been obliged to publish their COVID plans. So, for example, if I ask my boss, is the office prepared for me to return? And they say, yes, it is. And I ask, well, can I see the plans? And they say, no, you can't. That's not exactly going to make me feel confident about returning. I'd probably say, I don't think I'm ready to return, because you're not willing to publish the COVID plan. If the plan was perfect, you would have no problem publishing it. But businesses haven't been asked to publish it by the government. It's just window dressing. Pimlico Plunker, exactly that guy. Max, I wouldn't really... Yeah, Boris, I'd vote for him to test donkey costumes. Oh, Silver Blade. Boris is part of the corrupt old boys. That would mean that the company will would never have been put in charge. Exactly. And there have been reports that this company has is part of a shell company, and that they have money in offshore bank accounts. So it sounds to me a typical case of a Tory donor or an ex-member of the Conservative Party who has been given preferential treatment and given preferential treatment and something else in return. But let's continue what Boris has to say, because it always gets better.
We are seeing some real signs of strength in the UK economy, but unquestionably it will require people to have the confidence to go back to work in a COVID secure way. It's also
okay, but how can they have the confidence to return to in a COVID secure way if there's no mechanism for the staff to check if their bosses have prepared their offices in a COVID secure way?
Very, very important that we get all the pupils back into their schools. That would be also very, very important for getting our economy overall moving again. Fantastic speed and efficiency. For some reason or other, and planning has a lot to do with it, it takes far too long to build a home in this country, and they're way, way too expensive. And that's unfair on the younger generation who find themselves excluded from getting onto the property, excluded from any chance of having the home that they need in a...
Okay, so that could be an interesting argument. So Boris Johnson is saying that it takes the planning process is too long, and it takes too long to build these homes, and the homes are too expensive. So on the face of it, you could say, well, I agree with Boris Johnson on that. So how are you going to make it, how are you going to speed up the process, the planning process? Now, are you going to speed it up by eliminating irrelevant red tape, or are you just going to allow businesses to avoid certain checks and balances and allow them, look, you can build houses wherever you want. Somebody else will have to deal with the problem later. And if you want to build houses with substandard material, that's okay. We're going to lower the standards so you can build the houses faster and you can build them cheaper. Now, maybe I'm being too cynical here, but if you want something done faster and cheaper, it's not usually the case that it turns out better. It usually turns out worse. Tim says planning permission has been granted for over 1 million homes that haven't been built. So it's not a case that there isn't a problem. That planning permission is a problem. Is that there is planning permission, but the houses haven't been built. Planning has nothing to do with it. They're unimplemented planning. Whoops, I lost the. Whoops, bring back the commenter. Keep posting your comments, guys, because I love to read your comments. Planning permission has been okay. Planning has nothing to do with it. There are unimplemented planning permissions for 1 million homes. Just so, Tim and Stanley saying the same thing there. Will benefit Tory stooges. In Melbourne, each industry which is allowed to open must have industry-specific plans, and that makes sense. Lowering UK standards to caves. Maximilian, I heard a while ago that the Tory sods are going to allow building on floodplains, global warming. I think this could be just another attempt for Boris to to win votes. Look what I'm doing. We're building loads of houses. Yes, but are these houses quality? Are they built in the right way? Are the materials they're using correct? You know, it's not a very good comparison to make, but back in Ireland in 2007, 2008, before the crash, houses were going up all over the place. And a lot of these houses were made with substandard materials. And now what I'm reading is that a lot of houses have a type of gas that's been released over the last number of years that's been building up within the materials that were being used to build these homes. And all houses that have this gas being released need to be certified, and it's an extra cost. And it can be potentially dangerous for people living in these homes. And, you know, if you do it on the cheap, radon, I'm not sure if it's radon globe, it could be another gas. I don't remember what it is. I don't remember the name. If somebody can remember the name of it's a type of gas that's released. Ireland still hasn't solved its housing crisis, Connor says. Not a bad idea if you're building ships. The planning laws are to reduce regulation and the right to object. They will build crap with lower regulations on quality. Methane, pyrite. Yeah, that was it. Pyrite is pyrite is a type of gas or some type of material. And I think pyrite is actually quite dangerous. And you need, if you're selling your home or you're renting your home, you have to certify that it has this pyrite, that it's pyrite affected or whatever. Radon is harmless. It's one of the noble gases. Hit the like button, folks. Yes, it gets the same number of people on this. That's the same number of likes to number of viewers. Yes, we have to be up to 155 likes. If that's not the case, I'm very upset. If Boris could get away with building houses cheaply out of Lego, he would. The trick is a Lego house would likely be strong and stable. Don't buy a Persimmons home. That company is corrupt. England hasn't solved the housing crisis either, nor has Wales, Scotland, France, Germany, Holland, or Spain. Pyrex house, that would be interesting. Pyrite is full of gold. I never thought of it like that, Tim. Okay, just before we move on to the next article, I just want to give a big thank you to those who have donated to the stream tonight. Thank you very, very much to Dave, who's pledged as a Patreon. That's fantastic. Thank you, Dave Ramsbottom. Dave is now a Patreon. We also have Glasgow Kiss, who's donated $3 for the Not Potato PC Fund. Give the hamsters a new home. Hamsters Against Trump. Thank you very much, Tom Nelson. And Brian is a very kind donation. More wine, less Brexit. I agree 100% with that. So you can donate through the link the moderators will send. Okay, let's move on to the next video. So we're staying in Britain, of course, and I think we have to be extremely worried about what's happening with the pandemic and how people are beginning to return to the beaches, return to what they see as normal life. And of course, this is going to result in a spike once again, and we're going to see more and more cases.
Well, it would be easy to see those pictures of busy beaches and think the British seaside is back. But the data tells a different story, and talking to people here, they say it's really not that straightforward. And that's because in recent years, in Mablethorpe, where we are this evening, and in other seaside towns, they've had high levels of unemployment. Add to that, high numbers of people who work in jobs linked to tourism who've been put on furlough. And so people here have been telling me when the furlough scheme comes to an end, when winter arrives, when, let's face it, making money from sunshine is going to be that much harder, they fear their already tough times are going to get even tougher.
I think the furlough scheme should be, in a sense, eliminated and replaced with, sorry to beat the old drum again, but UBI, Universal Basic Income. We need to move in this direction. Imagine having a UBI where you can say to people, here you have £1,000 a month, stay at home. Don't go out. Stay in your home. You don't need to go to work. You can survive. We need you to stay at home at least for this year. You have the money to survive, and then once this pandemic has been dealt with, we can move on and deal with getting back to some sort of normality next year. But we can't do that because we need people to go back into work, into dangerous situations. Once again, we saw with the plumbers, where imagine a plumber who's been forced back into work. This plumber has to go to how many homes in a week to fix problems? I had a problem recently in my home, and the plumber came and he fixed it. Max mentioned UBI, reset the clock. And he fixed it, and he had to wear a mask and maintain social distancing or whatever. But that was him coming to my home. I actually asked him how many homes was he visiting this week, and he said about 6 or 7 homes. And he said it's a quiet period. Now, all he needs is one of those homes to pick up the virus, and then he spreads it to the others. You know, there's a reason why we need people to stay at home. Of course, you know, essential services like plumbers, whatever, they need to be out. But some things need to wait. We need certain industries to wait until we've overcome this virus, and then they can start to return to normality. Imagine having to go to Mablethorpe.
The spring of stay-at-home has made way for the summer of the staycation. Our seaside towns rediscovered after decades of decline. The busy beaches at odds with the empty offices in many cities. In Mablethorpe, the cogs of commerce are turning.
Oh, yeah! Welcome to the Blade Runner barber's shop.
I love this guy. Sorry.
God save the Queen!
But the picture isn't perfect.
Yeah, this place relies on the holidaymakers, and without them, this place would be absolutely nothing.
COVID-19 has worsened the problems and widened the gaps. When you're telling someone about Mablethorpe who's not from here, who's never been here, what do you say? How do you describe it?
That's actually a good question. It's an old town with not much income.
It's survival this year. It is just pure survival.
Do you think there'll be some businesses in Mablethorpe that don't survive?
Yes, I think there will be.
In seaside towns, the economics make for a precarious existence, hibernating through winter and reawakening in spring.
This has been my life, all my life. But this year's been particularly taxing.
Giving us the tour of his caravan park, Gareth told me many of the families here come back year after year.
Hi!
Hiya!
Hi! What are you filming?
Right now, they're all but fully booked, and they need to be, after lockdown meant they were closed for months.
Isn't there a risk? Just watching this, I'm thinking, isn't there a risk that these people will Why did they dub his voice? Isn't there a risk that you're going to see a huge number of cases in this caravan park? Using staycationing correctly is a hanging offence. Marble Top was over when package holidays abroad got cheap. How can they blame anything on COVID? Was a dump. It's near where Phil from a different place lives. I hope that's no reference to Phil. I remember shops in Dunoon that made all the profits in one weekend and run at a loss for the rest of the year, selling useless tat, out-of-date fudge, and imported toffee. Tourists are sad. Risking breeding. I'm not sure Trump's likes Thailand. I'm not sure the lady boys like him. They deserve danger money for taking that from the Irish bloke. I think Silverblade is on a roll tonight. Max, the so-called staycation is also about taxes, forcing people to go to do holiday spending in the country. It's not a caravan park; it's a caravan park. I shouldn't be laughing. It's quite a serious thing to say. Yes, I think it's extremely worrying that you have people packed into a caravan, and I assume that they're going to stay there for the whole holiday. If they don't, and people stay there just for a few days or a week, and it's replaced, is it thoroughly cleaned after the guests have left? I hope it is. Sorry. John Hurt says, I bet Jeff Taylor gets nostalgic for Marvel. Oh my god. We still sell that stuff in Jimmy hat anyone. If you didn't laugh, you would cry. If Scotland gets independence, sorry, I may be disabled, but we'll go down to the border with a song from Zombieland. Why am I laughing at these comments? I shouldn't be laughing at the characters are like huge coffins. You could pay me enough to go. Is Marblethorpe such a bad place? I must actually visit it when I come to the UK. What happens when the economy stagnates? Max Corpse. I didn't wear a mask because I already had COVID-19. I'm quite happy with my staycation. I can enjoy my D&D role-playing games and further. Why am I laughing at things that are not intended to be funny? Those kids look like they're save me from the police. Oh my god. I'm starting to cry like a cry now. Whoops, I stepped on something there. Oh my god. This is bad for my reputation.
57!
It's beautiful. It is.
It doesn't look bad. It seems like a cheery type of place.
Beautiful, you know.
Okay, sweetheart.
There's not the big money here. That is definitely not. You know.
Shouldn't she be wearing a mask? Like, if you're a business owner, if you're selling things to the public, shouldn't you be wearing a mask?
So.
But you've got the sea.
You've got to see. Yeah, you can walk down that seafront every day of the year.
But since lockdown, there's been something missing from the seafront. The sand train has been running since the 50s. It's been Paul's job for 18 years, until this year, and social distancing. So what are you doing now?
I'm packing fish in a factory in Grimsby. It's a job. I mean, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. I'm a loser, unfortunately, but I'll survive.
Just a mile back that way is the main strip in Mablethorpe with the arcades and the fun fair. But this beach stretches on for mile after mile, and most of it is pretty deserted. So while in city centres, space is the huge problem, and it's why so many offices are still empty. Here, we've got space all around us. Now, they just need to capitalise on it. In the last few weeks, Mablethorpe's been busier than in years. But in the evenings, the town centre feels empty. The day trippers have gone. The holiday makers are back in the caravan parks. Recovering from the economic shock of the lockdown will be hard everywhere. But data on the sector's worst hit suggests the places that had it worst before will struggle more than most now. Is there a risk that actually now, post-COVID, the gap will get bigger?
Oh, and it will. It absolutely, the gap will get bigger. And we've got to protect our communities, people that live here. We need to look at the skills offering in the area as well. More now than ever, the levelling up agenda is so much more relevant. So everything.
I don't know if this is a Labour town. I imagine it is. If Phil lives nearby, I think Phil said that he lives in a Labour district, in a Labour constituency. But I don't think these countries, these areas, these counties are going to do very well under a Tory government. They're not going to receive support. Sean says Ryanair has killed that town, not COVID. Which is interesting because just a side note that Ryanair is in a bit of a row with the Italian government. There was an article about it just yesterday where the Italian government have said, the Italian Air Authority have said that they don't believe Ryanair is taking the measures seriously to deal with COVID, and Ryanair are risking losing their license to fly in Italy. And that'd be a huge cost to Ryanair. And I imagine it's true because Ryanair are about cutting costs. And Michael O'Leary doesn't really believe that it's the airline's job to deal with COVID. It's he wants the airports to deal with it instead. Big veggies don't live in a caravan. So it was interesting. So I imagine what happened in these regions. Ryanair arrived. It was able to, they were able to get people out of the area into the south of France or to Spain or to Italy or to Greece or whatever around Europe with cheap flights. So why would anyone go and chew on rock for a weekend when they can fly to the south of France for a few pounds? Really, isn't the Italian government just men in tank tops shouting at you? No, ciao. Is stagnation bad? Of the economy bad? I'm assuming it's stagnating right now. Mablethorpe is good. They named it twice. Oh wait. Why do I have a riot of puppies every time I want to have a free time? They're talking of demolishing that garden a couple of years ago. That's very sad. Nobbyheads, are you in the area? Will Ryanair play those annoying bungle noises every time they land without infecting anyone? Probably. We have landed and no one was infected. Remember, fly again with Ryanair.
That we saw with the deprivation measures for our places are far, far worse now.
This travel firm is one of the biggest employers in Mablethorpe, but for now, most of their 30 or so workers are still on furlough.
Shouldn't he be wearing gloves? I'm sorry, I'm criticizing everyone who's working here, but shouldn't you be wearing a mask and shouldn't you be wearing gloves? Because what's the point in cleaning something and then after touching it? If when he's walking out, he could spray the handle off the bus. Then as he's leaving, he'd put his hand on the bus handle, or he may cough in the bus after cleaning it. Sorry, maybe I'm splitting hairs here. No, I'm maybe being a bit presumptuous.
And we operated through everything. Second World War, the flood of Mablethorpe in the 50s, and then this just completely stopped us. We've never ever stopped operating. The industry needs some support. We are getting it from the local community, from our loyal customers, and we thank them for that. But the industry needs some serious financial support to keep it going.
And without that?
I think it'll suffer, particularly in the winter. Airlines seem to be able to operate almost as normal. We can't. Why is that?
The booking office has reopened and some of Gracecroft's buses and coaches are back on the road. But the end of the furlough scheme is a worry for the bosses and furloughed workers like Sean.
I love that job. The people I take out, the groups I take out, the OAP groups, the children, everything. It's fantastic.
Have you been kind of trying to come up with plan Bs and things like that?
There's no plan B for me. I'm just going along with the flow and hoping that it does end soon. I can get back to normality at work.
I really feel sorry for people like this, who's a working class guy who's been driving a bus all his life. He doesn't know anything else. He doesn't have he doesn't have any other skills, and this has been taken away. And there's no one really to blame here. It's not like Boris Johnson has shook too many hands or something and caused it. This is out of most people's hands. That's just okay. I don't know why you said that. But it's just believe. Jeremy is crazy. Okay. What am I saying? I'm distracted. The working class are the ones who are going to suffer the most here. They have to pick up the pieces, and there isn't an alternative. The alternative for this man is probably universal credit, and that is not a friggin' alternative. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are not going to be able to take this. I really hope that there is some measure in place to provide some sort of training, but even what training can you provide and what jobs are there to work towards? We can't turn everyone into computer programmers. People are going to use public transport less and less as more and more people work from home. More and more people are deciding, are hotels safe? Is public transport safe? I prefer to take my car. I prefer to learn to code. My God, some terrible people on this stream. Learn to code was a typical phrase used in the 90s to allegedly retrain people. Universal credit is one step away from a workhouse. I think universal credit and Brexit will produce new types of workhouses, 21st century workhouses. Pauline, I need a good laugh like Max. I'm laughing at the comments. I'm not laughing, I promise, at the situation. I think the situation is beyond dramatic. It's beyond terrible. The comments of some of the people here is just... There's a plan B. Oh my God, okay.
If not, we'll just take each day as it comes and see what happens.
In the seaside towns where deprivation is widespread and struggle has been the norm for years, for now, there's sun and visitors, and that means there's also hope. Well, the sunshine that brings that hope and holiday makers to seaside towns is likely to bring even more of them over the next few days. But there is also a warning, an amber heat health warning to be specific. The Met Office is saying that temperatures will go up further, likely to be widespread, around 30, but in London and parts of the southeast, we could be talking about 37, 38 degrees, so officially a heat wave, and potentially hotter than Tenerife and Ibiza. So we're told that dehydration is a risk, along with sunburn, especially for children, the elderly.
Okay, and I think that's important for people to remember. But I guess you have this type of catch-22 almost, something like a catch-22, where you want people to come back to the beaches because it generates revenue for the town, but if too many people arrive, you're going to have an outbreak and then you'll have to close down the town. We need to find a new way of working. We can't continue in this way. Oh no, not a heat warning. When she said 30, I was like, pathetic. Here in Italy last week it was I think in my car the thermometer said 41. That was tough. That was difficult. Okay, let's move on to the next. Sorry, I want to cross the ocean once again. We have this is an interesting attack by Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is extremely desperate at the moment. At the moment he's suffering in the polls. A number of swing states are looking more and more likely to go in Joe Biden's direction, and Donald Trump has a crashing economy, mass unemployment, the pandemic. Max, cars can have AC, you know. That was the temperature outside the car, Night Raven. So it's no more Trump, please. No, this will be short. I promise. Whoops. Oh my god. Okay. Read some of your comments. So US President attacks faith of rival who has said that his Catholic beliefs helped him cope with deaths of his first wife and daughter. Donald Trump has claimed Joe Biden is against God in an attack on the presumptive Democratic presidential candidate's faith. In a provocative remark during a trip to Ohio, a key election battleground, the U.S. president said Joe Biden was following the radical left agenda. Now, Donald Trump is attempting to paint Joe Biden as either a radical leftist or under the sway of radical leftists. I can't think of anything further from the truth. Joe Biden is to the right of Barack Obama, and Barack Obama is, I would regard him as somewhat of a conservative here in Europe. So Barack Obama is somewhat like Angela Merkel in Germany. And now I know it's not a fantastic comparison, but that's more or less where Barack Obama was as president. Maybe Angela Merkel is more to the left even of Barack Obama. And conservative light. And Joe Biden is more to the right of Barack Obama. So to say that he's a radical leftist or is on the radical left just doesn't make any sense. But of course Donald Trump doesn't makes sense in general. Sorry, there's a problem with the page. It hasn't updated. Okay, well, I'll continue anyway. It goes on to say, Trump added about Biden, take away your guns, destroy your Second Amendment, no religion, no anything, hurt the Bible, hurt God. So let's just look at this for a moment. So he says that Joe Biden will take away your guns. Well, Joe Biden hasn't said anything about the Second Amendment. What's interesting is Trump says that Joe Biden will destroy your Second Amendment, not our Second Amendment. You know, your Second Amendment would imply that he's not covered under the the Second Amendment doesn't apply to Donald Trump. Maybe Donald Trump is not a U.S. citizen. I could say, I as a non-American could say, he's going to take away your Second Amendment, not our Second Amendment. But once again, Donald Trump doesn't make a lot of sense. But I found the funniest part was, no religion, no anything, hurt the Bible, hurt God. So Joe Biden can hurt God. I thought God was almighty. I thought God was... How can Joe Biden hurt God? Is Joe Biden some sort of superhero? Is he one of the Avengers that we didn't know about? You know, Thor is a god, and Iron Man was able to somewhat harm Thor in the movies. So is Joe Biden something like Iron Man or Hulk? That would be an interesting movie to see. Joe Biden, Avenger. He goes on to say he's against God, he's against guns, he's against energy, our kind of energy. Is he against energy weapons? He's against energy. Energy. What the F does he mean by energy? I'm trying not to swear here. Biden, who's leading in the polls, has frequently spoken about how his Catholic faith helped him cope with the deaths of his first wife and his daughter in a 1972 car accident. In a statement, he said Trump's comments were shameful. I wouldn't say they're shameful, they're just stupid. He added, like so many people, my faith has been a bedrock foundation of my life. It's provided me comfort in moments of loss and tragedy. It kept me grounded and humbled me in times of triumph and joy. This is fantastic political speech against fossil fuels, against energy, like what he sleeps at. Trump's got the energy of a toddler after a gallon of tango. Hulk smash, Hulks fall asleep. So Joe Biden stands for antimatter. Of course, God was pro guns. Trump and energy. He's been smoking the dragon's energy that Conway West says they share again. Person, man, woman, camera, TV says it all. But so Joe Biden's comment about how religion has helped him through a tragic moment in his life connects him with a lot of people. This is fantastic language politically, because everyone has experienced some type of loss in their life. And Donald Trump is attempting to attack Biden, and Biden is responding by saying, I'm a normal person who has lost people in my life, and my religion has helped me. And the vast majority of people in the United States claim to pray to some type of God. So, you know, you're connecting with those people. It's ironic that Donald Trump is... I was going to say Donald Trump is an atheist, but he's not really, because Donald Trump believes he himself is a god. It goes on to say in the article that And in this moment of darkness in our country, Biden says, of pain, of division, and of sickness for so many Americans, my faith has been a guiding light for me and a constant reminder of the fundamental dignity and humanity that God has bestowed upon all of us. For President Trump to attack my faith is shameful. It's beneath the office he holds, and it's beneath the dignity of the American people so rightly expect and deserve from their leaders. I would have gone further. I would have said an attack on my faith is an attack on all people of faith. That would have really, driven a wedge between Trump and his fundamentalist religious supporters, because for them faith is very important, and for Trump to attack Joe Biden's faith, I think wouldn't turn them off completely of Trump, but it would perhaps make some of them question, why are we supporting this guy? Trump probably thinks he is smart, probably conservative. No, he definitely knows he's smarter than God. Trump probably helped him write the Bible, or he at least proofread it for him first before he published it. I can guarantee you, if you ask Donald Trump, did you proofread the Bible for God, or would you have done it? Yeah, I would have done it. Would have done a better job. It's been 3 weeks since his cognitive test. Every day Trump gets nuttier and nuttier. Trump is the alpha and the omega. Oh my God. Now, whoops, what happened there? Okay. Biden's stance on abortion has antagonized many of his fellow Catholics. In 1973, he said that Roe v. Wade, which the Supreme Court decision, went too far, but now believes Roe v. Wade is the law of the land. A woman has the right to choose. Biden is dealing with a controversy of his own after suggesting the African-American community was homogenous, a comment Trump described as very insulting. Sorry, my mouse is messing up. You can imagine, he said that the African-American community was homogenous, and Trump said that's very insulting. I can imagine if you asked Trump, why do you think that was insulting? And he says, because not all of them are gay. I know I'm being very mean to Donald Trump here. Biden is dealing. Biden is said what we all know, but not that most people don't know. Unlike African American community with no notable exceptions, the Latino community is an extremely diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. Yeah, that was a stupid thing to say. He later tweeted, earlier today I made comments about diversity in the African American and Latino communities that I want to clarify. In no way did I suggest the African American community is a monolith, not by identity, not on issues, not at all. My commitment to you is this: I will always listen. I will never stop fighting for the African American community, and I will not stop fighting for a more equitable future. He sort of put his foot in his mouth, of course, and this is typical of Joe Biden. Joe Biden lives most of his life with his foot in his mouth. I think he was quickly corrected, not by Joe Biden, but by his handlers. They said, no, we will rewrite the tweet for you, and then you can publish it. Time for bed. Need early be early bleach tomorrow. Early to the beach tomorrow. Brian, have a good time at the beach, and get to bed early. Lactose is Trump intolerant. Lactose is Trump intolerant. Max, have you seen The Spiritual Advisor? It looks like Bozo's pole dancer. Sorry, IT consultant. If you're pissed and don't give a damn for God or IT or both. Trump read many pages. Trump huffed over John Lewis not going to his inauguration. Bleach, sorry, not Bleach Beach. Where did I read that? Okay, so this is about this is just Donald Trump's comment about it. So
I want to just say that a very good friend of mine just tested positive. Do you know that? Our great governor of Ohio, DeWine, just tested positive just here. And we want to wish him the best. He'll be fine. I guess he's going for a secondary test. I just said I look forward to seeing the governor. They said, sir, he just tested positive. But he's a great guy. He's done a fantastic job. Joe Biden's policies put China first and America last. And that's what he'll continue to do if he ever got this shot. And you will have a disruption in the markets, the likes of which our country has never seen.
But this is what you ran on. Donald Trump ran on disrupting everything. Where is the video? It's not loading. Let me try to reconnect it. Apologies. I don't know why it's disappeared. Just a moment. Okay, apologies for that. I don't know why it disappeared, but we'll have it back.
A very good friend of mine just tested positive. Do you know that? Our great governor of Ohio, DeWine, just tested positive just here. And we want to...
and yeah, like, okay, how is that relevant? Or why are you telling people this? Is it because you're going to do something about it?
Wish him the best. He'll be fine. I guess he's going for a secondary test.
How do you know he'll be fine?
I just said I look forward to seeing the governor. They said, sir, he just tested positive. But he's a great guy.
I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, he just tested positive. Is that how it... Okay.
Done a fantastic job. Joe Biden's policies put China first and America last. And that's what he'll continue to do if he ever got this shot. And you will have a disruption in the markets, the likes of which our country has never seen.
But once again, this is what Donald Trump ran on. Donald Trump ran on, I'm going to disrupt the markets. I'm going to disrupt the apple cart. I'm going to create chaos. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to create a new way of operating. And this was his manifesto. This was his way of campaigning back in 2016. And now he's saying Joe Biden is going to do that. And also about the markets, most people don't care. Most people don't care about the markets. They care about the pandemic. Do I have a job to go to back? Do I have a job to go back to when this pandemic has passed? Can I send my children back to school? Is it safe? Is it safe? My employer is telling me I have to return to work. I don't know if it's safe to return to work. How can I say? There are so many different issues here, and something extremely worrying at the moment for Americans is that there is a moratorium on evictions for people who are unable to pay their rent. And this is due to end. I think it may have actually already ended. And now you're going to start to see over the next number of weeks a huge number of people being made homeless. Where the hell is the federal government for those people? Why are the Republicans blocking in the Senate money to help people get back on their feet? Why aren't they allowing this moratorium to continue so that people are not going to be kicked out of their homes?
We'll have a crash in the markets because he's going to double and triple your taxes. He's going to do things that nobody ever.
But this old mantra isn't. I don't think it's going to work anymore. This idea, yeah, the Democrats are going to increase your taxes. The Democrats are going to increase your taxes. People are not all that concerned about taxes if they don't know if they have a job anymore. Are you sure, Max? Since 2008, literally everyone bought the idea that it's going to be greater. They're playing the indicators now for consumer confidence. I don't know if it still works that way, Christian. I think this idea, the market, for the average Joe, the market mix is irrelevant. And if you look at actually the market, 90% of the market is owned by the top 10, the investments are owned by the top 10 richest people in the United States. So most of the people who benefit from the market don't care about the public, don't care about the poor. They want people back into work, risking their lives to maintain their profits.
Would ever think even possible, because he's following the radical left agenda. Take away your guns, destroy your Second Amendment, no religion, no anything, hurt the Bible, hurt God. He's against.
He's just making things up as he goes along. Hurt the Bible, hurt God, yeah. Hurt Jesus, hurt baby Jesus. You know, you don't want to hurt baby Jesus. Look at poor baby Jesus. You know, what did baby Jesus do? Anything? You know, what did baby Jesus do to Joe Biden? Why does Joe Biden hate baby Jesus so much? You know, baby Jesus just lying there in the manger, not harming anyone. He's probably waiting for Donald to come to read him something from The Art of the Deal. But Joe Biden comes in here with his radical left policies, disrupting everything, disrupting the market. Jesus wanted to invest in the market, and he can't invest in the market now because Joe Biden has implemented his radical leftist ideology. And now poor baby Jesus can't, you know, can't live the American dream.
God, he's against guns, he's against energy, our kind of energy. I don't think he's going to do too well in Ohio.
Whether he does well in Ohio or not will not be related to whether he likes guns or he wants to take away people's religion. It depends on how you broke something. Oh no. Did I break something? Okay, before we finish the stream tonight, guys, we're near the end of the stream. Just want to talk a little bit about Brexit, of course, and he's heading to Ohio now. But before we read this final article, I just want to look. Not you, Max. Okay. I just want to look at some of your comments. The market doesn't really exist. It's just a manifestation of human hopes and fears. I agree, Archangel. He was a good guy. 2008 was 12 years ago. Now is now. Tomorrow is another day. God carries a gun. What type of gun is that, Sky Blaze? I'd like to know. Our kind of energy. What the fuck? Baby Jesus, wasn't he Palestinian? No, he was not. He was a good God-fearing Christian. I don't think Trump would let him enjoy the American dream. No, he would not. God getting uppity with Max. If Trump loses Ohio and Florida, Trump is in a world of pain by losing the Senate. I really hope Donald Trump is put in prison. That will be the least he deserves. Very good point, Kevin and Max. Nobody can live the American dream until they wake up. I think the American dream is long dead. Unfortunately, how is Trump even competitive in November? This really disappoints me. Look, I've said on this stream, I've talked on different videos about this. I would not bet against Trump winning. Trump is tanking in the polls. Trump is dealing with a pandemic. He's dealing with a crashing economy, mass unemployment, civil unrest, very low approval rating. But I still wouldn't bet against him, because I think Joe Biden has an apathy issue. You know, it's very easy for people to say, yeah, I'll vote for Joe Biden in November, and then when November arrives, they go, well, somebody else will vote for him, so I'm going to stay at home. It's cold outside. It's November, you know. It's damp. It's cold. It's damp. There's a risk that somebody else, you know, I might get infected. So that would be really why it's important for people to mail in their ballots. And Donald Trump is trying to get that stopped as well. Okay, so I just want to read this part of this article about Brexit. So, time to call it a day. This is from The Express. The Express is a pro-Brexit, pro-Tory newspaper, but I think it's always interesting to see what's happening on the other side. So, time to call it a day. Boris ordered to walk away from Brexit trade talks with Brussels. Ah, damn it. Okay. So let me just go down. The EU and the UK will meet again for the 7th round of formal post-Brexit trade talks in mid-August. Fishing rights and the position of the European Court of Justice within the British judicial system are some of the obstacles in the way of securing an agreement. Of those who voted in the poll, the vast majority told the Prime Minister, yes, walk away. These people don't understand what walk away actually means. You walk away to what? What do you walk away to? What does the UK walk away to? To what? WTO? But that's not a trade deal. Sorry. A massive 95% of participants to the Express said yes when asked if Mr. Johnson should walk away rather than enter into autumn talks with Brussels. A tiny minority, only 5% of 375 votes, so 375. I'd have more votes on my freaking channel if I put up a poll. So this is not exactly scientific. Said the Prime Minister should enter talks to attempt. Sorry, that's the number of the 5%. Okay, so no, it's probably quite large, but 5% is 300. So I'm not going to do the mathematics. So it's probably a couple of thousand, but still not representative of the British public. Only 28 respondents, or 0%, opted for don't know. So once again, a Brexit newspaper telling Brexit supporters that Brexit is a good idea. Those who said yes, walk away, numbered 5,000. Okay, here we have the number, 5,729. A Downing Street spokesman said last month, we can't go into the autumn. A spokesman added the Prime Minister was clear about not wanting to continue having talks in October. Autumn officially starts on Tuesday, the 22nd of September. However, the EU has imposed a deadline of the 15th of October to resolve the negotiations. The EU needs time after this date to ratify the negotiations within the mechanisms of the European Parliament. One Express reader was furious. The talks had dragged on so long. They commented, it has dragged on for too long, thanks to the Remainers and Theresa May, and at much cost. Okay, so Boris Johnson is being advised by Express readers. Another said, Boris, are you listening to us? It's time to call it a day. It's probably Jeff. While another reader commented, walk, it's what we've all been waiting for. A poll launched on Monday, 3rd of August. The final poll, okay. Yeah, walk away, Boris. Once again, walk away to what? That has always been the question. It's an Express poll, yes. Voice of Britain, edited by Saudi Arabia. When the government has only the fisheries rights as concerns, then the agreement shouldn't be a huge deal. Yes, Spitting Image is coming back. I can't wait for Spitting Image. It's going to be amazing. Speaking of fishing, Google a map of US fishing grounds. Freaking Shetland got more water than Germany and Belgium combined. May had discussions with industry leaders, but made them sign non-disclosure agreements. That's why there's little screaming. Walk away to fish. Once again, and thanks to whoever commented on this one of these streams and said the fishing industry is as big as the lawnmower industry in the UK. But you don't hear people complaining about why aren't we protecting the lawnmower industry? Why isn't Boris Johnson, appearing with a lawnmower, cutting grass? That would be an extremely important image to present to the public. Anyway, so we're almost at the end of the stream, guys. So we finished on Brexit as we always do. we don't always finish on Brexit, but we get close to it. Any Rangers fans on here? It'd be great to have a chat with some Rangers fans. I'm sure they'd agree with it. They would agree with me on a lot of things. We want our lawnmowers back. Stupidity at its best. Okay. So just before we watch our One for the Road, and before I thank everyone for coming on the stream, I just want to thank a big thank you to those who also donated after the last the comment for donating. We have Tom, who's donated €5. Thank you very much, Tom. Hamsters against Trump. Very good comment. Glasgow Kiss donated and said for the Not Potato PC Fund. Oh, okay, you said that before. We have Pete, who has pledged to join Patreon. That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Pete. Great to have you on Patreon. Make sure to check out the Discord server. We also have Luke, who has become a Patreon as well. That's fantastic. We've gained some, I think, two or three Patreons tonight. That's amazing. And Glasgow Kiss says, I like trains. Okay, not sure what that was about, but I may have to ask him to clarify. So thank you very much to everyone who has come on the stream tonight. Your comments are greatly appreciated. It's always a pleasure to come on the stream and to chat with you guys. I try to answer as many questions as possible. We got up to 100. We're at 151 viewers. That's fantastic. Thanks to everyone who has donated. Thanks to everyone. A special thank you to everyone who has become a Patreon. And of course, a big thank you to all of the moderators. I couldn't do it without you. Now, but don't go, because we have our comedy video for the end of the stream, as always. It's should be fun. So this is Nicola with some comments about Aberdeen football.
Some Aberdeen football players decided to head into the town and go into the bars, and they were told not to. Under all the rules, they were said, that's not what you can do. But fuck it, no, they absolutely did it. So now we've got an outbreak, and I've spoken to the SPF, LF, PTC and CPTF of the football people, and the Aberdeen and St Johnstone game is an absolute no-go. I fucking tell you, you start this, I'm taking the ball off you and I'm booting it out of the dunny. There'll be no football. You keep this shite up, all the balls are going to get burst. I'll literally go round with my sharp knife and I'll burst all your footballs. So, that's what's happened. Football got the go-ahead and football fucked it up. So guys, you're all just going to have to fucking suck it up and do what you're told. Right, you all know the rules and you've all been told. I'm out of here. Going to have a nice weekend. Hope you do too. With Sabutio, because that's all you're getting. Right, where's my clicky pen? Fucking had enough of it. Frank, get the door. I want a pizza.
So Sabutio for all instead of football. Have a great night, guys. Thank you once again for coming on the stream, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good night. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Stay alert, and have a good night. See you soon.